System of equations, substitution method. In this video, we'll talk about solving a system of two equations. The ideas could be extended to more than two, or so something like 3 or 4 variables. But we need to understand for 2 variables first. So this video assumes that you're familiar with an equation with one variable, something like 3x minus 5 equal to 1. So let me remind you, you add 5 on both sides and then you divide both sides by 3. So when you add 5, you get 6 divided by 3 and you get x equal to 2. So if you're not sure about solving an equation with one variable, I have a video on that. So look for 1 and 2 step equations video and then come back to this one. So I'm assuming that this is taken care of. You can solve for one variable. There's only one variable, x, in the entire equation. Now what I'm going to have is two variables. Now if I have something like two variables, say x minus y equal to 3. Now with just one equation in two variables, I'm not going to have a unique solution. So there are several solutions. Look, 4 minus 1 is 3. So x equal to 4, y equal to 1 is a solution. And so is 5, 2. And I can write 10 and 7 because 10 minus 7 is also 3. And there are so many other solutions. In fact, if you were to graph this line in the xy plane, then you are going to have all the points that fall on that line will be a solution. So two variables, one equation is no good. Now, if you have two variables, but two equations, so say x minus y equal to 3 and say y equal to, so I'm going to keep it simple. So let's say y equal to 6. Then there are several ways to solve, but sometimes substitution method is easier than other methods. I have a video on the addition method and there are other methods like graphical and so on. But in this video, we'll focus on substitution method. Now, as the name suggests, what you do is you substitute one of the equations into the other. So in this case, equation 2 appears simple because it has only one variable. So I can substitute, so that's what I'm going to do, substitute equation 2 in equation 1. So what does that mean? It means equation 2 says y equal to 6. So wherever I see y, I'm going to replace it with 6. So if I rewrite equation 1, it would be x minus 6 equal to 3. So call this as equation 3. And now I can solve this by just adding 6 on both sides. So when I do that, I get x equal to 9. All right, I got one answer. I have to find the other variable, but the other variable is already given as 6, which means I have to do nothing to find y. Sometimes I have to do some work to find the second variable as well. So once I have both x and y, I can write down my solution. So I'm going to say the solution is x is 9, y is 6. I can write it as an ordered pair. I write x first, then y. So anytime you see an ordered pair, then the first number would be the x value and the second number is the y value. So that was somewhat easy. Let's look at one other example. So say this time I have 3x plus 4y equals 7. And let's say y is equal to 2x minus 1. All right. This is equation 1, equation 2. And again, if it is substitution method, I want to substitute one of the equations. So usually if you have an equation that's solved for one of the variables, like equation 2 has just y by itself on the left side, that's what you want to use, that's what you want to substitute into the other equation. So substitute equation 2 in equation 1. Which means you're going to rewrite equation 1 with 2 substituted. So I'm going to rewrite, I'm going to copy the 3x plus 4, but I'm not going to write y, I'm going to instead substitute equation 2, meaning I'm going to replace y with 2x minus 1. So this is equal to 7. So this is pretty much equation 1, but now you notice that you don't have the variable y. It's replaced with this complicated expression, 2x minus 1, because that's what y is. So this equation looks a little bit bigger and more complicated, but it's easier since it has only one variable x. So all now I have to do is simplify this equation and solve for x. So the first thing I'll be doing is following the order of operations. I can't be adding. First, I have to do the multiplication. So I'll distribute the 4 here first. So copy the 3x and then plus 4 times 2 is 8. So 4 times 2x is 8x. And 4 times negative 1 is negative 4 is equal to 7. So we are solving for x. So let's go ahead and draw that line through our equations. Simplify on each side. So simplifying means I'll be combining the like terms here. I get 11x minus 4 is equal to 7. And now I add 4 on both sides. So plus 4 plus 4. Then on the left side it's 11x. On the right side is 11. So I divide both sides by 11. X is equal to 11 divided by 11 is 1. So we found one variable. So let's say this is equation 3. Now we plug equation 3 into equation 2 because we want to find the value of y. So y is equal to 2x, but x is 1. So it's 2 times x, means 2 times x is 1 minus 1. And you simplify and solve. This is 2 minus 1. So y is equal to 3. So that's, 2 minus 1 is 1. So we have both x and y. So at this point, we can write our solution. Solution is x equal to 1, y equal to 1. So we found x and y. And when we have both of those numbers, it's done. Now let's look at one other example. Say 3x minus 7y is equal to 2. And say x is equal to y plus 2. So number your equations. So this time equation 2 has x equal to y plus 2. So you have only one variable on this side. So this equation is simpler and we will substitute that. Substitute equation 2 in equation 1. Which means you're going to rewrite equation 1. So equation 1 is 3x. But notice, I'm not going to write x. I'm going to write y plus 2. So 3x means 3 times x. So I have to do 3 times. So times means parentheses, and it's y plus 2. So this is basically 3x, but we replaced x with y plus 2, and then it's minus 7y is equal to 2. So notice you only have one variable y. So that's what happens when you substitute an equation. Generally you will get rid of that variable and you would have only one variable. So you simplify and solve. Distribute. Okay, let's go ahead and draw the line to keep things separate. This is 3y plus 6 minus 7y is equal to 2. And we can combine 3y minus 7y is negative 4y plus 6 is equal to 2. And then you subtract 6 from both sides. So you have negative 4y is equal to 2 minus 6 is negative 4. And finally, to solve for y, we divide both sides by negative 4. So let's do that. Negative 4 here, negative 4 there. On the left, I have just y. And on the right, I have negative 4 over negative 4, which is just a 1. So I solve for y. Call that equation 3. And now to get x, plug this into the equation that has x equals y plus 2. So plug equation 3 in equation 2 this time. You can plug into equation 1, but that would be a lot of work. So equation 2 is simpler. It already has x by itself. So x is equal to y plus 2, but y is 1. So 1 plus 2, and x is equal to 1 plus 2 is 3. So now I have both x and y. So I can write down my solution. So the solution is 3, 1. So that's all I have in this video. You substitute, then get rid of one of the variables, and you will solve for one variable and then plug it and solve for the other one. So with this, we have only 3 examples, but I think these 3 examples are good enough to show the different kinds of substitution problems. Now I have some practice problems for the video, and as always, I will have the answers to those in the video description. So here are the practice problems for this video. So I have 8 problems. Solve 3x minus 2y equals 5 and y equals x plus 1. And second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. So good luck, and I'll see you in another video. Thank you.